Hi everyone, it's Katie Skilton here, and I'm really excited to be sharing with you today part of the Craftstash end of summer YouTube hop. So I'm going to do a little post and then I'm going to send you on your way to see the other videos. So the co-bands and the design team members have all got together and we're going to be sharing lots of inspiration and ideas using many different products, all available at great prices over on the Craftstash website. Now in the description box below this video you will find a list of all the participants and who to watch next. So after this video, please head over to the next one listed below and go and see what they are sharing. Now you can find the links to all the products that I've used today in the description box. And also remember, if you're VIP, you can also enjoy your extra discount on top of the already discounted items. Also, please remember to share the love, like, comment and subscribe to each of the channels because it really does help all of us to keep that content going. So today I'm going to be creating this shaker card here. So this is using the My Creative Life, which is obviously my brand. This is going to be using the Hearts and Arrows die and A5 stamp set and the Special Hearts reverse die set. So I'm going to show you how to make this shaker card. So let's begin. So I'm going to bring in all my pieces of cardstock here. So I am actually mainly using just white cardstock for this, and I'm inking lots of it. So what we've got a panel here. That's going to be our background panel, and then I've got a 5 3/4 background panel, and then a 5.5 inch main panel. So what we're going to do, we're going to start by die cutting. So I'm going to bring in my Big Shot, and I'm going to grab just the plain heart that comes in this set. And I'm going to die cut this into the center. So I'm only going to do it roughly by eye, which is how I usually do it. I'm going to pop that on and run this through the die cutter machine. I've layered that onto my top plate. Let me pop this. There we go. So let's pop this through the machine. And this is going to give us the aperture for our shaker card in a second. So now you can see we've got this panel, and that's our aperture panel. I'm just going to pop that to the side, and then I'm also going to die cut the actual main heart. This is kind of the embellished heart that sits around it. So we'll pop that. I'm going to fit that on that piece of card. Yes, just. So let's die cut this piece. So I'm just going to run this through a couple of times. Now, if you do struggle, this should be fine. If ever you think, oh, there's a couple pieces, turn your die upside down and then roll it through to face you. And that always makes such a difference. Pop that up, and then we're going to roll it through again. So now we are going to put the other heart that we used to create the shaker element back in, and we're going to cut the center out, and this is going to give us a frame that will fit perfectly around that shaker aperture. So now we have this frame. Right, now I've popped out all the pieces, all the little bits that come out of that. So now we're left with this lovely frame, and you will see now when I grab my main panel, this will fit perfectly inside of there. So what we need to do, we need to add some colour to some of this. So I've taken a slightly smaller panel here. So this is a 5 inch by 5 inch, but as long as it fits behind the heart so that you can't see anything, that's fine. So I'm just going to take my blending brushes and I'm just going to add some ink to this. Now you don't have to be neat. All you have to worry about is that it covers where the heart aperture sits basically. So don't worry too much about the edges, just. And I'm just randomly mixing. So I've got the saltwater taffy and the kitsch flamingo. I love these two together. They work so nicely together. Let's make sure. Then I'm just going to spritz a little bit of water just to give it a little bit of effect on there. Let me grab my cloth. What have I done with my cloth? Let me just grab my cloth. And I'm just going to dab that water, and that's just going to give it that little bit of effect there. So we can pop that to the side a second, and what we will do is we will bring in the main panel, because what we need to do, we need to pop some acetate on the back of this. So I've just cut an acetate square there, and I'm just going to be using my wet glue, and I'm going to go around the edge of this heart. Just get my glue to work. I'm just using my wet glue. I swear my glue works perfectly, and every time I go to film a video it clogs up. There we go, that's it. So just roughly go around there. I'm going to pop that acetate on like so. Now obviously, because this is a shaker card, we need to pop the foam pads. So what you want to do, you want to put the foam pads on, but you want to keep them as close to the edge of the heart as possible, because we don't want the sequins and the beads to kind of have too much space to shake around in. So I'm going to go all the way around here, and I will be back in a second once I've done that. So I've popped the foam pads on. As you can see, there's no gaps. You need to make sure there's no gaps. I've also taken the backs off. Now always take the backs off before I add in the sequins, because as soon as you add movement, the sequins will start popping everywhere. So I'm just going to add some beads into this. I've got some little beads here. I did have, that's the end of that pot. And also I've got some little star sequences. These are Sizzix ones that I'm using. I'm just going to make sure they sit nice and flat, because it's so much easier when you put the back on if you've not got a big pile of them sitting in the centre. Just add some of the smaller ones. Lovely. So this is where we're going to add on our inked panel here. So I'm just going to add that on the back, and I'm going to go around and just make sure that's really well sealed so the sequins don't all start falling out. So now you can see we've got that lovely shaker that's starting to take shape. Please out the way a second. And I'm going to bring it back in my frame. I'm going to bring that one in, and I'm going to use some salvage patina this time, and I'm going to ink this to add some colour. Just going to go all the way around. Obviously with distress inks and oxides, the harder you press, the more of a vibrant colour you get. So if you just want a slight kind of colour, just go light. That's such a good way to just use up your white cardstock, because we're literally just adding colour to our white cardstock there. So let me just clean that little bit up. Don't want to bring in our white card. So now we've got this. So this will now fit perfectly around that frame. So I'm just going to add some glue. So I'm using fine glue applicator, which is absolutely perfect. Things like these hearts, because they're quite intricate. You just want to pop that glue all the way around. Make sure it's nice and stuck evenly when we pop it down in a second. Oh. You can tell I'm concentrating because I've gone quiet. There we go. So let's pop this on there, and we'll make sure it sits perfectly on that frame. So you can start to see now where you've just started off with white piece of cardstock, you've kind of got all that colour coming together. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in my larger piece of cardstock here while I've got the ink. I'm just going to ink the edges of this, and I'm not going to worry about the centre or anything, because the centre is going to be covered, but I just want the edges to match that heart there. So I'll just go all the way around, and again, depending on what kind of coverage you want is dependent on how hard you're pushing down on that brush. There we go. So that's going to give us our background. So that can go onto there now. Just add some glue to that panel. There we go. So I'm just going to pop that to the side. Now I'm going to add another little bit of ink quickly to this panel, and we're going to die cut the sentiment from this. So obviously you can ink it afterwards, but while I've got my ink here, I might as well ink it now and then do the die cutting afterwards. Pop that to the side. Just give this a little clean. Lovely. So let me grab my die cutting machine again. And what we're going to do, we're going to cut a birthday sentiment. So with these dies, you get the frame and you get the base. So you can see here. So I'm going to cut the base from this blue. We've got the base, and then I'm going to take some black cardstock. Now, excuse me, the black seems quite harsh, but because we're using quite light colours, that black really makes it pop. So I'm going to cut the word birthday now from these arrow words. And I'm going to repeat that 3 times. So you can see I've cut these 3 times. I've popped out with the little bits from them. And then I'm going to stick these together. So what that does is it gives you a real dimension. It almost makes it look like those thick stickers that you can get, but it's simply just made using cardstock and die cut. So I'm just going to add, again, using this fine nozzle glue, just going to add some glue to the back of these and layer them all together. So I'll show you this first one. They're quite easy to line up. Take this one. Just start from the edge and work your way along the die cut. You can see there that you've got that perfect lining up. So these are all now layered. So you can see now, I don't know if I'll be able to see it on the camera, but you've got that lovely thickness there now. So this will sit on this almost like the shadow of the word. So again, I just add some glue to the back of this one. I tend to just do little dots. I don't tend to do it all over. I just think dots are just enough to stick it on. Oh, that one's gone a bit. So we'll pop that on. And you've got this kind of this wow birthday now. That we're going to pop that onto there in a second. So I'm just going to add some foam pads onto this one. I'm going to add quite a few. I don't want it to sag in the centre, so I try and make sure that each section is covered. Let's take these off. I'm just going to pop that to the side a second, because what we want to do, we're going to add the word wishes as well. So we're going to do that in stamp form. So I'm going to grab my stamping platform. I'm going to take the stamps out of here. So you can see these dies work so that they work with the stamps. So some of the dies will finish the words kind of the sentence, if you like. So I'm using die cutting birthday, but then I'm using the stamped word for the wishes. And you can do the same with like happy. Let's pop that on. There, like so. Just repeat that a second time, just so we can get it really nice and black and vibrant. There we go, lovely. So yeah, so you can mix and match these. You can make quite a lot of different kind of words and things from them. Just a case of playing around with them. So I'm just going to trim this down. Kind of want this as thin as possible, really. So let's have a look. Oop. There we go. So now we've got our wishes as well, so we can finish our sentence now. I'm just going to grab my brush here. I'm not going to add any more ink to it because there's probably enough on there where we did the background earlier. I'm just going to add a little bit of colour to that one. And then again, some 3D foam pads. So this is quite a dimensional card. So this is probably more one for someone that you're seeing rather than posting. I suppose you could create a little box for it. So let's pop those off there. And then I'm going to position my birthday like that, and then the wishes just underneath. So you can see now you've got this really cute like shaker card going on. All you need to do really is add that to a card blank. I usually make it and then I pop it onto a card blank afterwards. So I'm just going to add a couple of little gems just to pull out that gold in the sequins. One more. I do like an odd number for some reason. There we go. So there you have your shaker card. And what always amazed me about papercraft, if you started off with kind of white and black card, and you've ended up with this, I just think with dies and stamps, it makes it just kind of the possibilities are endless. So as I say, this is a part of a Craft Stash end of summer YouTube hop. So remember, the co-brand and the design team members all got together. So remember to look in the description below and follow the next person. Go back and look at the videos and watch them at your own time. But go and have a look because there's lots of different ideas and inspiration going on. All the products that I've used are all in the description below. And please help us, all out. Share the love and comment, subscribe and like on each of the channels. It really helps us. So thank you for watching and I'll see you again soon. Bye.